In today's weekly forecast, we're going to talk about the EURUSD, the Pound USD, the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar, and also Ethereum and Polkadot, two cryptocurrencies that I think have a lot of potential here over the coming weeks. So we'll discuss all the details. I'll share some trades that I took this past week and also some targets for the weeks ahead. And if you guys do enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications, because in addition to these videos every Saturday, I'm also putting out videos every weekday. So be sure to hit that bell icon to get notifications so you don't miss out. And lastly, none of the content in this video or any video is ever financial advice because it is just my opinion. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the EURUSD monthly time frame. So we have discussed this over the past few weeks, how the market has traded within this ascending channel ever since the early 2000s. Now, at the moment, okay, in the month of March, the EURUSD is coming off of support. And although we still have a lot of time left this month, you can see where if we go and zoom in here on the monthly time frame, the lower wick of March, okay, for this month is starting to get pretty long here. So if we were to see March close back above the lows from last month, okay, so that's right around 1.495. If we were to see the EURUSD get back above that area, and again, there's still a lot of time left in this month, so don't count it out. If we were to see that, then we could have a bullish pin bar here on the monthly time frame. Now, in order for that to happen, all right, and I've talked about this at length, but if we look at the daily time frame here, you can see that this trend line right here is the trend line off of the 2008 high. Okay, so what happened here recently? In early March, the EURUSD closed below this level. Ever since then, it has been resistance. Now, it looks like Thursday closed above it, okay? But here's the thing about a level like this, especially one that goes back to 2008, you have to have a very convincing close above the level to flip it back to support. And if you look here, this close was about 8 pips above 110.80, okay? So that's been the area we need to see a close above, but we need something very convincing from the EURUSD. This right here is not going to cut it, okay? So as of right now, this area is still intact as resistance for the EURUSD. We need to see a close up here, okay, in this area, daily close up here, to really flip this back to support and get that potential move up toward 114.80, okay? That would be the next resistance if the EURUSD can get back above the 110.80 area in a convincing manner. Now, support for the EURUSD remains the same. So this is the multi-decade channel support down here, which comes in just above 108, somewhere around 108.50. So this region down here is going to remain support for the EURUSD. But just remember, we need to see a convincing close above this area up here in order to flip this area to support. All right, so right now it is still intact as resistance. So let's go ahead and move on to the pound versus the US dollar. This is also something I've talked about for the last few weeks, where you can see the market recently bounced from this support area. Okay, now it didn't quite touch the bottom of this channel. However, like I said last week, it all depends on whether you're looking at this in linear view or logarithmic view. In log view, it actually did touch the bottom of that channel. All right, but if you look in linear view, it came just short, all right, just shy of testing that support region. But regardless, the key for the pound is going to be to see it close back above 132. So that's going to be the key for the move higher. And you can see back here, 132 was support. It was resistance right here. And then last week, once again, resistance. Now, I did take a long position on the pound last week, and I also mentioned it in the members area. And it all had to do with this area right around 1309. Okay, so 1309 back here, you can see was support. The market broke below it. It became resistance, flipped back above it, and it became support. All right, now part of the reason why I took this long too, and again, I did mention this in the members area in the forums, but 1309 was not only support here, but also we have a potential inverse head and shoulders shaping up on the intraday charts. Now, what I find really interesting about this is that the measured objective for this, all right, so if we look here from the potential neckline right around 132, down here to the low at 130, all right, and you move this level up from 132, you get an area right here around 1338. Now, if you've seen the recent videos, you'll know that 1338 is this low back here, okay? So if we draw a horizontal level right there at 1338. And again, this is the measured objective of that potential inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame. All right, and we go out here to the weekly time frame. Look at how this area has served as resistance for the pound recently. Okay, and by recently, I mean going back to 2019. So you can see where GBPUSD found resistance right around 1338 ever since 2019. Now, it becomes a little messy through here and again through this area. Okay, but this is no doubt going to be a critical level for the pound. So for the week ahead, here's what I'm doing. So I'm still long here from 1309. I did take some profit, which again, I mentioned to members. I did take some profit right here. So just below this area. All right, so we got the move down here, went long from here, took a little bit of profit up here in this area. But I do still have a good portion of that position on. If we get the close above 132, all right, so up here, then I will look to re-add to that position for that move up toward 1338. Okay, now alternatively, if we were to see the pound move down here, close below 1309, then that would pretty much invalidate this setup in my opinion. All right, so the pound does have some potential here in the week ahead if it can get above 132, but just keep in mind that this area is going to remain critical resistance until we see that close above it. All right, so next up, let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar. So you guys will remember a few weeks ago, I talked about this level right around 686, okay, 0.686. And the reason this has been significant is because you can see it was support back here for the market, then it broke below it, this area became resistance. Now here recently, okay, the pair did try to get above it, but never was able to close above 686. Okay, so notice through here, the market spiked above it, but we did not get that daily close above this area. Now last week closed Thursday above it. Okay, so we got the close right here, and notice where Friday bounced, right from that new support level. So we now have a daily and weekly close above 0.686. So any rotation into this area for the coming week, I would expect buyers to defend that area. Okay, and the resistance level that I'm keeping an eye on here is this descending channel top. All right, so we talked about this recently, how the New Zealand dollar was moving within this channel, and then we got the false breakdown here. Okay, the market reclaimed it here, and it served as new support. So resistance for the New Zealand dollar is going to come in right around 70, maybe 705. Okay, so 0.705, that is going to be the area to keep an eye on. I do expect sellers to defend that area if we get that move here in the coming days. But you can clearly see here on the weekly time frame, the market has broken above this area, which is serving or was serving as resistance. Now, let me show you one last thing here before we move on to our cryptocurrencies. And that is if we look at the 4-hour time frame, okay, this can kind of give you an idea too of where to potentially take profit if we do get that move higher this week. All right, so if we look here at these lows, you can see where we have this ascending channel. Now, obviously it depends on whether you draw them from down here, up here to this high. But if you use this very low down here, all right, I would look for something like this. Okay, so this level up here is likely to serve as resistance. So let's say we get a very sharp move higher early in the week. There is a chance that we see it top out before it reaches the top of that larger channel we just discussed. All right, so you're gonna wanna keep an eye on this 4-hour channel as well, because this resistance level up here, all right, right around that 70 level could come into play early this week. So that's just something to keep an eye on. But again, I do expect buyers to defend the 686 level if we do see a rotation lower into that area early this week. All right, so let's move on to our two cryptocurrencies, which I think have a ton of potential. And if you guys have seen the recent videos on Ethereum, you'll know that we were looking for a breakout from this symmetrical triangle here. And I was looking for a break higher. That was my ideal scenario, just because I felt like there was more room to run higher. And also the fact that a break lower would have been more difficult to play in my opinion. Now I was getting long here around 2,600. All right, so I mentioned that to members, and I did add to that position here following the close above this level. Okay, so this is the trend line here off of the November high. You can see it was serving as resistance. Ethereum broke out from this level here on this candle, and look where Thursday's low came in. Okay, so the market retested this level exactly as new support. Now at the moment, it is coming into, or starting to come into, a little bit of resistance up around $3,000. That is going to be a key area for this market in my opinion, just because, okay, this was the last higher high for Ethereum back here in November of 2021. So ever since this time, we have seen a series of lower highs from this market. Okay, so getting above $3,000 would be the first higher high since November of last year. So that would be a big turning point in this market, literally. Okay, so $3,000 is going to be a big area to get above, but I do think if we see a daily close above that, we're looking at a move up toward 2,600. So a lot of real estate to play with here if Ethereum can get above $3,000, but so far so good. Again, I am long from 2,600 and I did add to it following the breakout here. All right, so the plan is still the same. I am going to book a little bit of profit up here around $3,000 just in case we get a sharp pullback from that level. But if we then get a daily close above this area, I will go ahead and re-add to that position for the move up toward $3,600. And last but not least, let's talk about Polkadot. So our second cryptocurrency, the ticker here is DOT. Now this market was off its all-time high, okay, up here by over 70% recently at the low. So we have seen a considerable pullback from this market. And furthermore, if you look here in linear view, you'll notice that the market right now, and I mentioned this yesterday on Twitter, but you'll notice how the market is coming off of this massive, okay, ascending channel. So when you look at this, there is a chance that cryptos could turn bearish later this year. There's a chance it could turn bearish next week. Okay, but when you look at this chart, I have to stay bullish, or at least cautiously bullish, while the market is above macro support. This is a huge support area, and the fact that we are now seeing DOT, and it's not just Polkadot either, okay? We're seeing this from a lot of different cryptocurrencies. So even the altcoin market cap chart is showing the exact same thing. So we are seeing the market come off of a level that is very similar to what we saw back here in 2021. Now, it's not saying that this will happen again, okay, but it is saying that there is a lot of potential here if the market can start to climb over some of these key levels. So the very first level for DOT is going to be 1940. All right, so if we move back in here, 1940 has been resistance here over the past few weeks. And at the moment, the market is starting to climb above that level. Now, here's what's going to be key. We need to see a daily close above this level here, right around 1940, in order to flip that to support. If Polkadot can do that, then I do think we are likely to see a move up here toward $23. All right, so this has been a significant area for the market over the past few months. All right, and that's considerable because it's almost 20% from 1940 up to the $23 area. Now, in a similar way to the New Zealand dollar, we can also use this trend line down here. All right, so instead of a trend line, we can actually draw this as an equidistant channel, all right, off of some of these lows and use this level. Now, what's interesting is if we go back to a linear view, all right, and draw it right along some of these recent lows here, this is the exact same concept that we used for the New Zealand dollar. And it's something that I use often where, a lot of people will draw channels like this once it's established and try to play the breakout from it. But you can also use a channel like this to identify a potential support or resistance area. Okay, so if you want it to be conservative, you could draw it along some of these highs back here. All right, and we have obviously the low down here, or the support. So at the moment, again, a daily close above 1940 flips this area to support. And over the coming days, okay, I do think 23 is going to be a factor. But if we were to see something more aggressive from this market before we hit $23, then the top of this channel could also play a role. So you're going to have to keep an eye, in my opinion, keep an eye on this channel as well, because this level could come in as low as $22, depending on how aggressive this rally becomes. But I really do think that 23 is a level that DOT is going to want to retest just because of the significance of this level over the past few months. All right, it was support back here, and now it's resistance. So I think that the market is going to want to test this area here over the coming days. All right, guys, so that is it for today. Lots of opportunities out there shaping up right now. I think the EURUSD is still kind of locked between support and resistance. The pound, I think there is an opportunity if it can get above 132, as I mentioned. The New Zealand dollar, same thing. If we see a retest of new support right around 686, that could provide an opportunity. Ethereum above $3,000 and DOT above 1940. All of this, of course, is just my opinion, not financial advice. But if you guys did enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications, and don't forget to smash that like button. I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you again next week.